Look at that, you look like Pablo Picasso. Just an artiste when you apply that. In this video, we restore an oak floor from the 60s that's been neglected for years. At this point, we've sanded and edged everything. Now we're going to go into scraping the ends of the planks, doing the corners. Now there are a few cable holes here. I've talked about these things in the past. So we're going to take this LePage plastic wood and we thoroughly mix it. And what I like about this is that it dries to sort of a tan brown finish, but it blends well with the red oak. So we're going to apply it there. We're also going to apply it here. So what I particularly like about this filler is that it dries very quickly, so then we can lightly sand it and then reapply more to fill it. Time to tack the floor. I've provided links to everything I used in this video in the description below. Look at that, you look like Pablo Picasso. Just an artiste when you apply that.
Hey, Picasso looks like me. Yeah, it's cool that those videos are up. I'm gonna have to Take a look at those. Make sure I look good, you know?
Absolutely. So we're back the following day. The first coat's been applied. And you can see the Fabulon first coat seals the floor. So what we're going to do now is we're going to screen sand with the Orbital sander, vacuum, then tack the floor, and then apply the second coat. So we're going to 220 grit screen this guy right here. We're going to screen the entire floor, vacuum, tack it, and then apply the next coat. So one thing I'd like to point out with this Clarke OBS-18, it's only necessary to go over the floor once. You don't have to continually go back and forth with the 220 grit. It's going to take the coarseness off there in one pass. I really wish you could feel this, but I'll just have to explain to you that by running this, and you just have to make one pass, it'll bring it down, and it's as smooth as glass now. So the 220 grit, you got a 220 finish, surface finish on your floor, which is as smooth as glass, and it's just beautiful for applying the next coat. So obviously, you know, it kicks up a lot of dust when you're doing this because you're orbital sanding with a screen, right? It's similar to what a drywall, when you're sanding drywall dust, right? For the in between mudding. So this is now smooth as glass, and when I vacuum and tack it, it'll be perfectly ready for the next coat of urethane. The natural tendency when you're operating the machine is to lean back like this, but that's not an effective way to use this machine. You actually want to lift up, so you make sure that the pad is flat to the floor and not leaning back, because the weight is going to be distributed from the center out. If you lean back, you're putting all the weight on the back of the pad here, and it's not an effective way to sand with it. So it would be like this. You might want to do this. That's not a good way to do it. You want to lift up so the pad is flat to the floor. You're flush to the floor. You're actually lifting up on it a little bit just to make sure you stay flat to the floor. Okay? So a simple point, but you really have to do it to make sure you get the optimum efficiency out of the machine. The one thing you have to be careful when you're using this Clarke OBS-18 is when you go over grills like this, when you go over areas like this or vents, floor vents, you have to make sure that you don't try to pass over the entire thing with this. Otherwise, your screen is going to get caught and you're going to rip your screen. So as long as when you're sanding, you don't go beyond this point with the pad. Because if you do that, your pad's going to rip. So you have to go around it like this. Okay, so I've stopped. I've gone halfway through. I've stopped because I don't want the side of the pad here to go into that gap. Otherwise it's going to rip. So then I'll stop there. Come around the other way to complete it. And that's really the only way you can do it without ripping your screen. If you found found this video helpful, please hit like and subscribe to the channel.